Deep Rock Galactic is a 4-player co-op game that comprises of 4 overworked and underpaid dwarves dropping onto the physics-defying alien hell planet of Hoxes, mining it for all the resources it has to offer, while simultaneously battling endless hordes of alien bug inhabitants called Glyphids and Mactera. Now while that is the guts of the game, that doesn't give you the full description. This is a game with a rating that puts it in the top 0.1% of all games on Steam. Deep Rock Galactic has a monetization policy that makes you want to buy its DLC. The community absolutely loves it, and toxic players are rarer than a snowball falling on Bondi. Let's find out how it does all these things and see if the game is worth playing in 2021 in this episode of The Aussie Perspective. Simply put, Deep Rock Galactic is a 4-player co-op adventure shooter that drops you in a mine and has you dig and dig and dig and then shoot and shoot and shoot and then escape. The game, like I said though, is much more than that. All of the elements in this game combine so seamlessly that if someone told me the lead developer was Mozart returned from the dead to make one last great piece of art, I'd believe them. Now as per usual, I'm going to go through the elements individually while trying to explain how they work so well with each other. There is the 4 classes, the combat, the map and its procedural generation, the missions, the progression and longevity, the game's optimization, and then finally its charm. So let's get into it. First off, there are 4 classes to choose from: the gunner, the scout, the driller, and the engineer. Each of these has its own purpose, and each feels like an integral part of the team. The gunner, who lives up to his name, uses big guns to mow down enemies in their droves and rip big beasties to shreds. He gets a zipline that can traverse caverns and help his team get across crevasses. He can also use his deployable shield, however, which prevents bugs from entering, which helps create a defensive point from which his team can annihilate bugs in temporary serenity. Or he can throw it on his downed allies and help safely revive them, which is huge in boss fights. Next comes the scout, whose job it is to light things up with his flare gun and then find and mine all the hard to reach minerals in the caves Spider-Man style using his grappling hook. The scout also acts as somewhat of the precision shooter on the team. His guns are devastating against single targets, and the scout's favourite thing to do is put a shotgun up a Glyphid's ass.
It's just like self-sacrifice.
Next comes the driller, who has what I believe to be the most important job on the team: drilling things. The driller can use his powerful drills to create ramps to hard to reach areas, clear out entire areas of rock to create more defensible positions, and can help the team escape the caves by simply ignoring the cave system and drilling his team through the rock to the escape pod. The driller is also no slouch in combat either. He can use either a flamethrower or an ice cannon to decimate all the little guys in the area while helping support with the big enemies by constantly freezing or burning the big boys to death. The driller also gets an axe for a grenade. Enough said. Finally comes the engineer, who is the support powerhouse of the team and is the definition of a jack of all trades. The engineer gets a vast array of weapons that are quite unique to him, from the grenade launcher, whose name speaks for itself, to the breach cutter, a laser weapon that can cut through enemy armor. He also gets defensive turrets he can place anywhere on the map. These help clear out the chaff and let him and his buddies focus on the real tasks at hand: mining and drinking. All of these classes really do combine to be perfect with one another. You could always make an argument that one is stronger than the other, but really, they all have their place on the team, and a team really feels it when one of the 4 is missing. Each of the classes is super unique and super fun to play, and with the developers planning on adding more weapons in the very near future, this will only get more true. Now we get to the combat, which makes up a significant amount of the game. While you are happily mining, the local fauna that infest the caverns of the mineral-rich planet Hoxes see you as an easy meal. This really hurts the profits of Deep Rock Galactic, since dead dwarves equal less minerals and more insurance payouts. Therefore, you must kill the bugs before they kill you. And let me tell you, they are really good at killing you. There is a vast array of these critters, and all of them feel like they have their place, from the humble grunt to the hulking bulk detonator. The bugs of Hoxes never feel repetitive and will always feel like a challenge. The varying enemy design and the way the game throws them at you make you learn to prioritize what to kill first. The Glyphid Menace, for example, hiding on the roofs of the caverns, shooting deadly acid balls at you, needs an instant dose of bullets or your squad is literally dead. Killing this might have to wait though, as the Glyphid Warden sitting next to it will be raising its defenses as well as spinning up all the other bugs around it, making them charge at you full speed. It's essential that teams, especially at higher difficulties, work as a team. The best bit though is that teamwork always feels like the best way to go about defending yourself. Mission control will always warn you about swarms, giving you time to get to your team. The way the classes work together, even if you have two of the same class with you, always make working as a team the best option. This forces people to work together and really gives you a sense of teamwork. You will always feel like you are helping each other no matter what. You might be running away scared from an oppressor, drawing it to yourself, letting your teammate get at its weak point and annihilate it from behind. Meanwhile, you can shoot what is eating them from behind easily thereafter. It's naturally intuitive to understand what your job is and how you should go about it. And then there are the bosses of this game. There are 5 to 8 of them depending on how you define a boss, and they all feel unique and they are all super fun to fight with their own unique mechanics. The Glyphid Dreadnoughts are the game's current strongest enemies. You can hunt these in selected missions and each of them is tough to fight. To defeat one of these, your team will have to time the act of breaking their shields so that your entire team can unload on the big bug when it loses them. Failing to strategize and time your abilities will ensure your dwarf gets sent straight back to the medbay. On top of the dreadnoughts are random events that you can encounter in any cave. Some may have up to 5 of these random events. They involve doing things like removing parasites that are actively turning your company's battle drones against you. Once you defeat the parasites, you can repair the drone and it will help you for the rest of the mission. Then there are these gold-infused bolt detonators that explode with massive amounts of gold if you kill one. It is things like these that really make this game and its combat super fun to play. Just be careful with what my friend likes to call the Noob Slayer 9000.
Middle bit done. Woo.
Moving on to... What is this? Lower? Should be? God, my peripheral vision is working so hard.
Hello, it's I, Cameron from the Aussie Perspective. I just thought I'd drop myself in here, with my good old hammer pickaxe to remind you to like and subscribe if you like the content so far. Drop a comment down below, maybe recommend a game for me to review. I'm going to do a video every week. Cheers. And now I get to talk about this game's best feature, its maps. The mission maps in this game are fantastic and visually beautiful. Each map is procedurally generated by the game as you load in. There are 10 biomes in total, and each of these is highly unique in looks, environment, playstyle, cave generation, and sometimes the biomes have enemies that are unique to them as well. The glacial biome, for example, will have frost-based enemies, whereas the radioactive map will have bugs that have evolved and explode with radiation particles. As I said, however, this game procedurally generates these maps and it does a fantastic job of it. Each cave will look and feel genuinely different from the last one. The best part is that the caves never feel like they are just glued together messes of systems that the game has failed at creating. Each cave feels like what you could expect if you were exploring a radioactive hellscape filled with creatures whose only goal is to eat you. There are caves that are essentially long tunnels from one point to another with points where a dwarf can't even fit. Then there are caves that are just one gigantic cavern that is so large you can't see the edges from the middle. It truly does feel amazing exploring the caves, coming across a massive gold node only to see a bolt detonator has decided to show up, turning a corner and seeing a vast space, or running to something unique like one of the very rare gems. All of these can happen at any moment and it is an absolute joy to experience. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the missions. There are 7 of these in total and they are again all unique and really immersive. There is the simple money expedition where you and your buds enter a cave and mine rock. There is the salvage operation, where you enter a cave that a previous team of dwarves died in, with your job being to extract the equipment they left behind. And then there is the elimination missions, where you go and strategically exterminate Glyphid dreadnoughts before they reach whatever their final form is. All of the missions are fun, and they all have their own unique mechanics. The basics do stay the same throughout, like mine stuff, kill stuff, and then escape, but the game does a good job of giving you a variety that feels like you really do work for an intergalactic mining conglomerate. None of these missions fundamentally change, but the differing biomes really change how each mission feels. For example, you could do 3 escort duty missions in a row and they always feel like a new experience because of all the layering inbuilt mechanics designed to create new experiences in the game. This is compounded, however, by the fact that certain missions can have either hazards or anomalies, or both for that matter, attached to them. These change the cave in some fundamental way and can either be great bonuses, such as bugs giving double XP or each bug dropping gold when it dies. They can also, however, make the game much more challenging by removing your shields or dropping you into a cave occupied by an unkillable ghost bulk detonator that follows you around trying to kill you all damn mission. These really exemplify my point. That's becoming a broken record at this stage, that the game has a lot of longevity. Why do I do this to myself? I always forget to mention one thing. Oh well, it's Future Cameron's job clearly, and that is monetization. In this game it is excellent. The developer has not put anything behind a paywall other than a couple of cosmetics that you really don't need to buy. All the cosmetics that are in the base game, they're all pretty cool and there's a lot to get. You use the items you find in the form of like flowers and different minerals that you can collect along the way to pay for them. And none of those like in-game currencies can be bought, so you can't actually use real money to pay for that stuff. It is a fantastic way of doing it. The game doesn't make you buy anything, but you feel like you want to buy the stuff just to support these fantastic developers. Future Cameron out. And also, Rock and Stone! Okay. I've essentially been making love to this game for the last however many minutes I've been talking. I bet you're waiting for me to come up with this long list of negatives, a crack in the foundations, an ugly duckling if you will. Well, I'm sorry. No, that's ridiculous. I'm glad to inform you that this game has none. Along with that, this game has virtually 0 bugs in 2021 and has had 0 for some time. Along with that is the fact that this game is one of the best optimized games I've ever played. That might be a reach, but I literally never see a frame drop in this game. It loads fast, has beautiful looking maps, and can often have a ton of stuff happening at once, but still manages to run flawlessly. It's like a Ferrari that's been tuned up with some WD-40. You can't go wrong. And now I get to talk about the progression of this game, which really is what keeps you coming back. This is, however, the section of the game where I must mention my one and only, very small, hydrogen atom small even, criticism of the game. Progression in Deep Rock Galactic is based on levels. You gain 25 levels in each class before being able to promote that class, and each level you get gives you unlocks. These come in the form of access to more perks for your weapons, armor, or even special abilities. At lower level, each level up really adds a lot to your class, and you really appreciate every level you get. Once you've reached level 25 though, these upgrades start to slow to a halt. However, the game does a fantastic job of keeping you around. It does this by giving you access to assignments throughout the leveling up stage, which are essentially quests that send you on specific missions. After a certain number of these missions are completed, you get a reward. This reward can come in a heap of different shapes. You can earn access to the mineral trader, you can unlock a new weapon for your class, and after a while, you can even promote your character, keeping all perks and guns in the process. This gives you access to deep dives, which are challenges that combine 3 different missions into one big one. These deep dives reward you with weapon overclocks, which are upgrades that you can find while playing the game normally. These change your weapons in multiple different ways. They sometimes simply buff one aspect of the weapon, and other times they turn grenade launchers into literal nuclear weapons. My one small criticism comes in here though. At 79 hours played, I have yet to level all 4 classes to 25. I've only promoted one character, and it hasn't necessarily been through a lack of trying. Level gain can be slow in this game, and it can feel quite grindy. I say this only as a small criticism, however, as this is how the game is designed. The game does not punish me for only having one promoted character as well. Getting that promotion gives me access to overclocks and higher difficulties across all of my characters, and I really appreciate how slower progression leaves me wanting more. I love hopping into a cave, exploring it in its entirety, playing with my mates and having a really good time. A small increase to the promotion level, however, would have been really great. And last but definitely not least comes this game's charm. This game makes the people who play it feel good. You can drop into any level with any character and play with anyone from around the world and immediately feel like you're in a team. When you load in, a standard greeting you will get from players 105% of the time is, "For Rock and Stone!" People really love playing with others, and you don't need to type or voice chat to get that sense of camaraderie. You'll learn to love the interactions between dwarves and really appreciate the universe. From one dwarf calling another dwarf an arswipe because he shot him in the back, to dancing around the boombox with a beer in your hands with your friends. This game makes you feel like you're a dwarf in the mines and really makes you appreciate everything it has to offer. This game is the video game definition of getting on the beers with your mates. It makes you feel happy just playing it. The adventure, the fights, the discovery, all of these moments make you happy you are playing Deep Rock Galactic in a way that no other game can. Its progression system keeps you coming back, the constant updates keep the game alive, and really, there is no game I would recommend more to someone looking to have a good time. Oh, and it also has barrel kicking. Good luck with the achievement. Okay, on to the final verdict, which is a whopping 10 out of 10. This game deserves it. There are a couple of things I haven't talked about in this game, and that's because, like, there's so much good in this game. And like I said, I found one minor criticism, just one, and even then, it keeps you coming back. Whoop-de-doo. This game is fantastic. You need to go and play it for the price at a cost of 45 Australian dollars, probably 30 American. It is well worth the effort, and you really need to go and play this game. Now, if you like the video and you like my review, you might like my other reviews. I'll chuck them here. I've done one for Biomutant and for Hood, Outlaws and Legends. If you have any recommendations, please drop them down below. I'm going to be trying to upload a review for games both new and old every single week. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Aussie Perspective.